is a college prep teacher, and most of her curriculum comes from like a Texas college curriculum, where it's really supposed to be self-paced.
Okay.
But I noticed with her, it's really not self-paced. She don't want them to just sit and get it.
Right.
With a large number of students, she has to make sure the environment is safe and that those students are staying on task. So one thing I did notice that she kind of brought her own little twist to it by giving them like a warm up when they come in, which was a grammar warm up on I want to say like verbs using parts of speech. Yeah. So they don't just go in. I noticed she don't just have them go in and start on the Texas College Board website. She actually gives them some tools and some skills that they can use to be successful in that.
Right. And even with talking about her environment and her routine and her procedures, a couple things that I liked is her timer.
Yes.
She had a set timer so the kids knew the routine. They knew, okay, after 5 minutes is up, we're going to move to the next thing. Also, her environment class size was pretty big,
Yeah, she had
but it was still
It
structured.
was.
So that's what I like. She still had control. Kids were still engaged as far as her routine.
And you know what? No, go ahead, go ahead.
As far as her routine, it was the kids were still engaged in it, uh, in her lesson. Another thing that I observed was her objective.
Mm-hmm.
So it was placed on the board, and they knew exactly what they were learning for the day and what they were going over, which was the kind of verbs is what I remember they were learning.
And not just the objective, she had the agenda on there too, so they knew what to expect. Before you get into your college board, we're gonna go over some skill practice and stuff like that.
Right. And I documented as far as managing student behaviors. I said they were well behaved. All students were on task and focused on the assignment. And I also documented how she kept all students engaged and was giving instruction the whole time.
Yeah, she stayed in the power zone. And
did.
that's why I was like, you can tell she's a teacher that don't like to sit. She's always up. She's aware that it's a large number of students. And so she stays in the power zone and and monitor the students.
Right. And another thing that I noticed about where her, she had some special education students in there, and she knew how to modify that assignment to fit what they needed to learn, how they to differentiate instruction is what I mean. So I was impressed by that.
Yeah, she guided them. You can tell she guided them first off, like the first half, and then she allowed them to do a little bit of independent practice on their sheet, and they were able to use. I know she had like a reference sheet that they were able to use too to support them with identifying the verbs and understanding what a verb is.
Right. And another thing that was good for her was I could tell her relationships with her students because they felt welcome to raise their hand, ask for help, and it was one young man in there. You could tell he had a really good comical relationship with her because the way he was asking her for assistance. So I took away with that, like how you could tell she has a relationship with her students as well, which was good. The only thing and I think maybe we can agree on, was her maybe having a word wall.
Yes.
I didn't see a lot of visuals on that, so I would probably, offer some feedback on that.
So let me ask you, how would you give her feedback on that?
So she was teaching on kinds of verbs. So I would suggest some kind of anchor charts or some type of visuals that will remind kids what verbs are.
Okay.
To help her teaching easy, so she can say, okay, let's look at the verb chart.
Okay.
She did good walking around, but also kids can kind of look and she can kind of redirect and say, okay, let's refer back to our verb chart.
Any other tweaks? What else? Because it's a college prep. What else could motivate those students when they walk in and it's a college prep? They're seniors. They've already passed the STAR test. What else could she have had in the room?
I think just out top thinking maybe something that geared around college, maybe some posters, maybe some of the college flags, just to, encourage them. Okay, even maybe it was one of her assignments. upcoming assignments where she could just kind of use it as a piece for the day to say, okay, well, we're gonna look up colleges. So something like that, just to encourage the atmosphere of the collegiate.
But overall, it was a well-managed class. Students were engaged. They were able to practice the skills and feel comfortable asking questions. So I like that.
Yeah, and for the most part, what I noticed about the students were they were engaged, but they were confident in their learning. They were confident in their learning, and you could tell because some of them were working independently and they without needing support. So it was like, and then as I walked around, I noticed that most of the answers were correct. So, they were confident in their learning. So that's about all I could think about as far as, let me look. It says teacher leads a mutually respectful and collaborative class of activities. So, um, I'm just gonna ask, like, as far as on the walkthroughs, we don't do like where they do the accomplished and distinguished. You don't do that. You just give them the feedback, right?
Well, when we're doing the walkthrough forms now on domain 3, we really don't have that piece on here.
Okay.
But when we get to the actual when we get to the instructional domain 2 on that walkthrough form, then we will be able to do that piece. Now I have a tier sheet that we've shared with everybody on the admin team, and we're just like doing our, as we tier them, where are they at? Are they proficient, distinguished? But that's just for us.
Okay.
Hello? Hey. I'm sorry. Hey, okay, I'm calling you right back. I have somebody in here with me.
It's okay. Okay, so you're talking about the tier sheet.
Okay, so on the tier sheet that the admin team shares, it's like our first set of walkthroughs.
Okay.
What we're doing, we are observing classroom environment only right now. And on that sheet, it asks us at what level do we see those students at? I mean, those teachers at this point in time. But that's just for us. But on the walkthrough form, we're not at that point yet. So everybody, if they're at tier, because we tiered them, if you're at a tier 3, you're getting at least one walkthrough a week.
Okay.
So we can get them where they need to be before they get to like the planning and the instruction part. That's why we decided to start off with classroom environment. When I talked to several of them, when we talked during our pre-conference, they were asking me, okay, so where do you think I am? And I felt comfortable, and they felt comfortable enough understanding why I put them either at proficient or something like that.
Okay.
So they want to know, and during the pre-conference, I did share with them that just at the classroom environment level. And I've even seen some of them change. When I go back to do a second round, they've already made the adjustments to collaborative groups or the turn-in talks and things like that.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah.